We obviously reflected early this week at the end of the Brighton game on the game and a few of the things that come from it. What did you like about your team's performance?
I think we played some decent stuff at times. I thought, we tried to pass the ball and we tried to play in our shape and we tried to play, um, you know, not too dissimilar to how we would try and play in a league game. I think, obviously, look, their quality showed at times and they were clinical, of course, but I just want to kind of to go about the game and not change too much. I didn't think we had loads of time to change, a great bit of work anyway. Just off the back of the Blackpool game, half thinking about the Port Vale game already. So I kind of wanted to stay consistent with how we looked and how we worked. Yes, obviously, the shape changed in terms of the press a little bit because of the opposition's strengths and how you want to nullify them. But I think I wanted to go about it just in our way to keep the consistency in the work. And I think in spells in the game, I think we looked not bad in how we wanted to play with the ball.
Do you like some of the bravery shown by particularly some of your younger players? We talked about Reyes a little bit in the week, but I was thinking about Vimal maybe as well. And just the way that they tried to carry the ball, that they were taking a few risks, so they a characteristic like in your players.
Yeah, I think the big thing for us is that, and I think a bit of a learning from me is that to really let the players, play with courage. Not that I don't, but regardless of the opposition, whether it's League One, non-league in an FA Cup game or Premier League club, to really let the lads play with courage. I always want the lads to enjoy having the ball and having spells on the ball. I think with the team that we have, it suits us. We're not blessed with, big physical number nines or, Caelan Vigors isn't the biggest in stature, out wide. So we have to play with courage on the ball and probe and be proactive with the ball in the mid third and in the final third. So, I was pleased with how the lads, had that courage and expressed themselves and playing the way that we want to play.
I mean, historically, it's not long ago that Barnsley were above Brighton in the pecking order. I mean, what did you kind of take away from the night in terms of the gulf now and the challenge faced by teams further down the pyramid compared to those that have been in the top 10 in the Premier League for a while?
Yeah, I think it just shows that I think I touched on this pre-game that if you have a plan and stick with it and stay with the consistency around that and don't indulge away from it too far in tough moments or in big decisions. It just shows where you can end up. I think it takes patience, it takes time, and I think I've already said it pre-game. Clubs like Brighton, clubs like Bournemouth, Brentford are clubs that League One and League Two clubs can aspire to be, given time and patience, and move things forward in the right way.
I mean, you can certainly view Tuesday night in isolation, but that is now one clean sheet in 11 in all competitions. Is that something that you're wary about at the minute in terms of that defensive record and just trying to shore things up a little bit more overall?
Yes and no. I think we were seconds away from another one at Blackpool. We were a couple of minutes away from one against Bolton. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. We were a mistake from Nath that he's held his hands up for against Huddersfield for another clean sheet. So it's such fine margins. It's such moments in games that you could say we could be sitting here with 4 clean sheets. So very, very close. I've got an actual unit meeting with the defenders at 9:45 this morning to go through the defensive displays over the last couple of games, and I don't think they're getting the rewards that they're putting into the games, if I'm being totally honest with you, and that would be a message that I'm going to tell them in about half an hour's time. So it's about staying consistent again with the work and not getting too bogged down with maybe not getting the clean sheets that they fully deserve. But if we keep working hard, the rewards will come from that point of view. I'm convinced of that.
But is there also a sense of there's just a great focus in how you want to play in attacking and trying to get more, and maybe that Kevin Keegan old school mentality of we're going to score one more than you are?
I think I think I've got a way of playing, and I've got a way that I like to see the game, and definitely goals and freedom and attacking sense definitely involve that. But I do want to, shore up the defence and keep clean sheets just as much as scoring goals. So I think there's a balance in between both. But I definitely do think that there's we've been very, very close to keeping many more clean sheets, and there's such fine lines in games of football. And like I said, the most important thing now is to stick with the work and keep working hard at it, and then hopefully over the next couple of weeks and months we will get the rewards from defensively displays point of view.
Are you happy with the four you've got, or is it going to be a case of maybe Jake or Mile getting an opportunity in coming weeks?
Time will tell on that. I think, I think the back line, particularly, I personally thought that was one of their best displays as a four on Saturday against Blackpool. They definitely didn't deserve to be on the back of a 1-0 late defeat. I thought the final third was the place what we could have done better with in that Blackpool game. And look, the forwards have had plenty of plaudits with the amount of goals that they've scored so far at the start of the season. But it was Murph in the back four that I felt particularly disappointed for after the Blackpool game, because I thought their defensive display was a real high level. And I would have loved to have been patting them on the back, walking off with the clean sheet that they deserved on Saturday.
Just wanted to do an update check on your longer term injuries, Conor, in terms of Roberts, and Jallo. How are they getting on? Is there any kind of sign of any of them returning big time in the near future?
I think will be after the international break, after Cardiff, when we're kind of prepping for the Bradford game. I think we may have Robbo and Georgie kind of in and around the training sessions around that time. Still a couple of weeks away from actually first team games, but in terms of involvement and full training, I think they probably won't be too far away from the kind of week leading into the Bradford game.
And Fabio, where's he at?
Fabio's a little more longer than that. He's a little bit more further away than Georgie and Robbo, so a little bit of patience around Fabio is probably the most important thing.
Thoughts on Port Vale then? Clearly newly promoted. The easy thing to say after they've got a couple of back-to-back wins is that they're finding their feet. Is that your assessment?
Yeah, I think they're a difficult team that make it difficult for you. I think they've had a couple of decent results over the last couple of games. Like I said, go on about fine margins. They were on the end of a late winner in terms of it going in their favour at the weekend. So look, they're in a decent place. They put in a decent display as well last night against Arsenal. So look, another tough test. One that we're going to be firmly ready for, and each team brings their own test, and each team brings their own strengths. So we'll be focusing on that now over the next couple of days, making sure we're in a good place for the weekend.
Somebody as well, coming back in, Devante Cole. It's amazing to think that he was a teammate of yours at Barnsley over a decade ago. He seems to have settled into life at Port Vale pretty well.
Yeah, look, I know obviously Devante, and he's a very good player for the level. So he'll be coming back, and no doubt looking to get nick another goal, because he has done so far over the first couple of games. So one that we have to be wary of his threat. And he's going to be an important player for Port Vale at the weekend.
Are you surprised that he struggled when he went to West Brom a little bit further up? He's certainly, over the last few years, excelled in League One in terms of his goal scoring.
Yeah, I just think it shows the level in terms of the jump. West Brom being a very established club in and around the Championship and trying to get promoted to the Premier League over the years. Never going to be easy when you play every single week here or at a Port Vale, and then jumping to West Brom and not being in the team as much, and then not finding rhythm, and you're used to playing so much, and then when you get chucked in for a couple of games, you have to perform, or else you'll go another stretch without getting a game. So it's difficult, it's really tough, and he would have been aware of that obviously over the course of the last year or so moving there.
And is Darren somebody that you've come across? Clearly, you've both played for Barnsley and both been at Derby, but is it one that your paths haven't necessarily crossed over that time?
Darren actually, I've met him a couple of times outside of football. Obviously, look, played against his teams a lot over the years, but he actually lives very, very close to me in Birmingham direction. So I've seen him kind of out and about once or twice over the last couple of years. So yeah, he's a lovely, lovely man. But yeah, the only reason why I've kind of bumped into him outside of football is because we don't live too far away from each other.
Yeah, nice bloke, really good bloke. Good luck at the weekend, Conor.
Thanks, cheers.
Hi, Conor. Patrick Kelly, is it as planned? Could he possibly be involved at the weekend?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, and that's what we're hoping for. Going to take part in more training again today. He's kind of been in and around on the grass all this week. So yeah, we're hoping for him to be involved at the weekend.
Good stuff. And in terms of the results, probably one of the tougher weeks you've had in the season so far. Obviously, we've gone into the reasons for that, but you're sort of just looking forward to how the players respond to that, and hopefully make you stronger.
Yeah, of course. It's about accepting what's gone on over the last couple of games, and analysing it and trying to improve. But I think now, with 3 games this week in terms of Port Vale, Notts County, and Wickham, potentially then having an international break, potentially that game maybe being off, waiting for confirmation on that. So I think the biggest thing for us now is to have a good solid week in terms of the next 3 games before that kind of maybe break. The last time we lost a league game, we went on to bouncing back and had some good results off the back of it. So that's just been my message to the players. Yes, disappointing obviously against Blackpool. Obviously one of the games on Tuesday night was disappointing, but obviously the level was extreme. But in terms of bouncing back now from the last league defeat is the key thing for us.
I think you mentioned it after the game, but a sort of mantra of don't lose 2 league games in a row is sort of quite a good one to have. It may not always be possible, but always try and have that in your mind of always bouncing.
I think so. Look, the last time, like I said, the AFC Wimbledon game, we went on to have some positive results off the back of that. So that's the message to the players. I think, such fine lines, as I said, the games that we've lost so far, even the game that we've drew, the Bolton late goal, the Blackpool late goal, so we're really competitive and really in every single game. So, it's a case of now having a good couple of days preparation heading into Port Vale and bouncing back.
Still feel confidence and momentum about the group. You've built up a decent head of steam even before these last couple of games.
Yeah, I think the lads are in a really good place. I've, had some good conversations with some lads now over the last couple of days, and there's a real good positivity and a good clear way of how we're going to go about our business. I think the group's in a really good place, but I think now over this week particularly, with the 3 games that we have, is how many points and how many victories can we pick up over these next 3 games.
We talked about it at the time, but out of everything that's happened this week, is it maybe the second half at Blackpool, the one that sort of like annoyed you maybe a little bit more than everything else, in terms of like they obviously came at you, and as we discussed at the time, the passing went a bit. Does that just need to be something that improves if that happens again?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the bravery and the courage a little bit. When the team comes on you that little bit more, I think having that real courage to take the ball all the time and to be in our structure and be in our way. So our passing becomes easier because we know where each other's going to be on the pitch. So it's a little bit of that bravery and courage that I'm probably going to be saying as well.
Just Port Vale and the style of play you expect from Darren Moore's side? Yeah,
they obviously they make it tough for you. They don't give away too many goals, or they don't give away too many shots conceded. So it's going to be a tough game. One with fine margins again, no doubt. They play with a back 5, and when you get into their final third, they go back into that back 5 and want to defend their goals. So it's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough, but one that we need to be ready for, of course.
Couple of familiar faces were mentioned earlier. There are obviously others as well. Joe Gauchi in goal, who was here last season, and Martin Devaney, who was here a long time as well, obviously moved on. I mean, especially Martin, who was around their coaching staff, I mean, they obviously know the team and the squad a bit. It has changed, of course, over the summer, but does that sort of, do you have to be aware that there's someone who worked alongside you who might know a bit about yourself and your team on the other side?
No, not necessarily. Look, I think every team that you play against now, there's always a link, there's always a player, there's always somebody that knows each other or whatever. So I think it's a part of the game that no matter who you come up against, everybody knows somebody in the team, or there's some close link somewhere. So it's just one of them things.